Street Fighter EX3 was one of the most remarkable launch titles of the PlayStation 2 era. It marked a bold attempt to blend the traditional 2D roots of Street Fighter with the rapidly evolving world of 3D fighting games. Today, when we look back, EX3 stands not just as a fighting game, but as one of the most experimental and daring chapters in Street Fighter's long history. In this video, we're diving deep into the development, mechanics, characters, and legacy of Street Fighter EX3. Why was it so different? Why is it still remembered by fans? And how did a short-lived spin-off series leave such a deep mark on the fighting genre? Let's explore. To understand EX3, we first need to look at the origins of the EX series. Developed by Arika, the studio was founded by Akira Nishitani, one of the key creators behind Street Fighter II. That alone tells us something important. The EX games were made by people who deeply understood the soul of Street Fighter. The first EX title arrived in 1996, during a period when 3D polygon graphics were taking over the arcade scene. Games like Virtua Fighter and Tekken were dominating, and fighting games were shifting toward full 3D movement. Capcom wanted to stay true to classic 2D gameplay, but Arika was given the mission of merging that style with modern 3D visuals. Street Fighter EX3 became the peak of that experiment. Released in 2000 as a PS2 launch game, EX3 benefited and suffered from that timing. On one hand, it had the opportunity to show off the power of a new generation. More detailed character models, smoother animations, explosive effects, and new gameplay modes. On the other hand, being a launch title meant a rushed development cycle. Despite that, EX3 managed to stand out with its intense combat system and unique personality. Even though the characters were rendered in 3D, EX3 kept the core identity of Street Fighter intact. Movement remained mostly on a 2D plane, with classic quarter-circle motions and familiar combo flow. But the animations, camera angles, and special effects brought a new level of visual impact. This balance between tradition and experimentation is exactly what made EX3 so interesting. One of the most iconic features of the game was its tag battle system. This allowed players to select two characters and switch between them mid-combo, creating a fast, aggressive, and stylish combat rhythm. The idea of launching an opponent with one character and continuing the combo with another was revolutionary at the time. Fans especially loved pairing classic duos like Ryu and Ken, and unleashing devastating tag super moves. The tag mechanic wasn't just flashy, it added new layers of strategy. Swapping out a weakened character at the right moment could completely shift the momentum of a fight. EX3 also introduced Team Battle, where 4 characters could form a squad. Playing this mode with friends turned the game into chaotic, unforgettable fun. Every match became a tactical puzzle. Which characters work well together? Which supers complement each other? The EX cast offered personality-rich fighters that made every team combination feel fresh. One of the most underrated features of EX3 was its character edit mode. This mode allowed players to complete special missions and unlock moves for a customizable fighter named Ace. By choosing specific abilities, supers, and skills, players essentially built their own unique character from the ground up. This level of customization was unusual for a Street Fighter title and added a creative, RPG-like flavor to the game. Ace remains one of the most iconic elements of the EX3 experience. Let's talk about the roster. EX3 included classic franchise legends like Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Guile, and Zangief. But what truly defined the EX universe were its original characters. Skullomania, a normal salaryman turned costumed hero. Doctrine Dark, a deadly soldier with a tortured past. Sharon, a cold-blooded assassin with striking visual flair. Darun Mister, a charismatic powerhouse inspired by pro wrestling. And Kairi, a mysterious warrior struggling with supernatural forces. These characters weren't just additions, they became cult favorites. Skullomania, in particular, has remained one of the most beloved Street Fighter characters never to appear in the mainline series. The movesets were explosive, with bright trails, powerful hit sparks, and cinematic supers. Ryu's Hadouken had never looked so vibrant, and Skullo's attacks were full of character and flair. The visual presentation of the supers with darkened screens and energy bursts gave the game a dramatic style that felt ahead of its time. Of course, the game wasn't perfect. Many players criticized the menu designs and felt that certain modes seemed unfinished due to time constraints. As a launch title, EX3 clearly didn't get the luxury of a long polish period. But what it did, deliver fluid combat, unique mechanics, and personality, was enough to build a strong and loyal fan base. A key part of EX3's charm was its music. The EX series had always been known for energetic electronic tracks, and EX3 continued this tradition. Themes like Hokuto's and Kairi's captured the mood of their stages perfectly. These soundtracks remain nostalgic highlights for fans even today. When Street Fighter EX3 released, critics were divided. Some praised its bold mechanics, while others preferred the traditional 2D titles. But among fans, the game became a cult classic. It represented a version of Street Fighter that dared to be different. Years later, when Arika released Fighting EX Layer, players immediately compared it to EX3, proof of how memorable the game truly was. Ultimately, EX3 stands as a milestone in the evolution of fighting games. Its bold experimentation with tag mechanics, team battles, customizable characters, and a unique cast gave it an identity unlike anything else in the franchise. It was a parallel universe, one that never continued, but never truly disappeared either. Fans still dream of seeing Skullomania, Kairi, or Sharon officially join the main Street Fighter roster. In the end, Street Fighter EX3 is more than a game. It's a snapshot of an era, the early days of the PlayStation 2, when the industry was changing fast and developers were taking risks. It was ambitious, energetic, strange, and unforgettable. Even though it remains the last entry in the EX line, its spirit lives on in the hearts of players who experienced its chaotic battles, explosive visuals, and iconic roster. Street Fighter EX3 is a bold experiment that left a permanent imprint on the franchise and on the history of 3D fighting games. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, comment, and like for more content like this. May the best retro games be with you.